Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Niagara Falls. Our religion, Sanatana Dharma, is not concerned with nastikas. Na asti. Nastika means someone who is an atheist, does not believe in existence, awareness, joy, does not believe in God. And the reason why our religion is not concerned with atheists, an atheist today believes that they will never believe in God, that they will never feel independent joy. But our religion knows eventually everyone believes in God. Everyone will feel independent joy. Now we have a choice. We can be someone who's engaged in himsa. Himsa means violence. Violence against ourselves by staying separate from God, by staying separate from independent joy. Or we can be someone who practices ahimsa. It is someone who begins to believe in God, begins to follow the path to independent joy. The deepest form of ahimsa, non-violence, is oneness. When we are identified with every being, humans, animals, plants, stones, the way we love ourselves, we will express that love towards all beings. This is the deepest ahimsa. And so now just pause and think about the profundity of this Bhagavad Gita course, where we are practicing ahimsa with the purpose being to feel that deepest ahimsa. The rad that I had posted yesterday from Sri Ramana was self-reformation leads to societal reformation. I can't remember the exact quote, but that when I reform myself, I reform all. We are deepening our study of Tat. We're in the Tat portion of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Tat is a portion that focuses on Bhagavan Krishna. And this deepening is to feel all is divine. Not to just know all is divine, not to just remember all is divine, but to feel all is divine. To help us feel all is divine, we have to unfeel that which is undivine. Now I know both of those are not real words, but you understand what I'm saying. To unfeel this presence of undivinity, that I'm just the body, just the mind, just the intellect, and that person is just the body, the mind, the intellect. In Ramayana, in Sri Rama Gita, Sri Lakshmana asks Bhagavan Rama 5 questions. And one of the questions is, what is Maya? And Bhagavan Rama, through Goswamiji, says, Me aru mor tor te maya, which I'll define each word. Me and mine, yours and you, that is Maya. So I and mine, you and yours, that's what Maya is. That's what we have to unfeel. That's the undivine. I know in our last class, some people's minds were broken. We just went too high, and then like a comic book hero who's holding onto that rocket ship, but then they freeze and fall. That was like us. So I want you to try to visualize every experience that you've ever had to dissolve you from that experience. Every experience you've ever had, we're going to the past. When you were in elementary school, you were on vacation with your family. If you can visualize dissolving yourself from every one of those experiences, that's the truth. Because when you think of those experiences, it's I and you. But the depth, the truth is to dissolve ourselves from all of those experiences. And it may be hard, but that's what I'm sharing. It is hard to unfeel, but that's the only way. And we are fortunate that moving forward in all of our experiences, that the focus shouldn't be on I, you, na mama. Om Namah Shivaya, na mama, only Shiva. That is the depth. That is the truth. And I tell you, it's very liberating. As long as we have to think about ourselves and what we need, it's so tiring. But when we don't have to think about ourselves and what we need, it's so refreshing, it's so light, so liberating. Try to contemplate on that, dissolving yourself from every experience. I'm moving to 9.10 and 9.11. Acharya Shankara, in his Bhashya on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, at one point says to be careful about religious merit or punya. Be careful, be wary of religious merit or punya, because when someone is trying to create punya, why are they trying to create punya? The reason they're doing this is because they're too oriented towards their mind. The mind is one that is ever engaged in mishra. Mishra means mixing. I say this, the mind mixes it up, correct? You see something happening over there, the mind mixes that up too. In the past, I've shared that the mind ever interprets, but here I'm using the word mind and mishra. What does it mix? It mixes a long time as being forever. The mind mixes this length of time, long, but interprets it as forever. When someone lives to create punya, they want to live in pleasure, possession, and position. And all they're going to experience is this for a long time. But the mind makes us believe that this is forever, when a long time does not equal forever. As soon as that punya ends, one is back to moha, bhaya, shoka. Confusion, fear, and sorrow. A long time is not forever. In the happiness series, I began sharing, no combination, no permutation of the finite can create forever. And that is indicative of the fact that we are joyous, we are divine. We have to be careful about that. We have to unlearn this idea that I can create infinity, that I can create divinity. You cannot create that. You can only recreate that, which means I'm paying attention to the truth. Our study is for clarity. Clarity, which will lead to conviction, which will lead to confidence. Clarity where joy is not. Clarity where God is not. In Sanskrit, we say na iti, neti. Is joy in articles? Neti. Is joy in my family? Neti. Is joy in a vacation? Neti. Once that neti, na iti is clear, that door is closed, iti becomes much more clear, doesn't it? If I gotta move and this door is closed, I go this way. If you think about the last time you wrote a multiple choice quiz, you first knock out what it's definitely not. And then you play around with, okay, it's this or this. And the answer is always C, correct? But that neti is quite powerful to create iti. So Bhagavan uses a powerful phrase in this chapter. Kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. Kshine weakens. What weakens? Punya. That living for pleasure, possession, position, that will be weakened. And when that's weakened, martya loka vishanti. One enters into this world of death. Martya means death, but of change. When the pleasure ends, what starts to begin? Pain. So why? Why live for long happiness when one should be living for forever happiness? No? Being more specific about this, if you go to Shloka 22 of chapter 9, this is one of the most, what Pujya Swami Tejamananda told us, this is the book that he had given us. That's quite moving that we've received these individual copies of Srimad Bhagavad Gita from Guruji. And he told us this is the most beautiful shloka. But there's lots of shlokas where he said this, this is the most beautiful. But I've written that down. He says, and this is to be memorized. And so, for those who are thinking more deeply, this is an unspoken Ra. I'm not going to ask you to memorize this, but if you're thinking deeply, this should be memorized. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. And I'll take up two parts of this. Firstly, just so we know how amazing this is. This is the essence of the essence. If Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the Upanishads, and within Bhagavad Gita, if chapter 9 is the essence, because it's really the middle portion, in chapter 9, this is the essence. So the essence of the essence, this is Shloka 360. How many shlokas are there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Some say 700, some say 701. I'm more of the 701 personality. And I'll explain that too when we get to chapter 12 and 13, if we're still alive, if you're still in the course. So the essence of the essence, Bhagavan says, Ananya chintaha mam. Ananya, not other. Chinta, thinking, not worrying, thinking, mam, about me. When one is only thinking about me, Bhagavan Krishna, God, joy, then yoga, kshema, vahamyaham, I will look after what one needs to procure, and I will protect whatever is procured. Procure and protect. I'll make this more simple. What this shloka is teaching us is to depend, solely depend on Bhagavan for all. To depend on Bhagavan for all is the essence of the essence. And now, when you hear this shloka, to depend on all, the word vairagya comes to life. What should you engage in vairagya towards? To not depend on articles, beings, and circumstances. How? By depending on God, depending on existence, awareness, joy. When I depend on myself, it becomes quite natural to not depend on that which is changing. Martya Loka. Vairagya to me is the most practical way to live, the most common sense way to live. In the lesson, there's a short story where someone had asked Pujya Swami Chinmaya, saying, we keep hearing about all of these saints who live in the forest, who live in the jungle, and that food is provided to them. Somehow food is provided to them in the jungle. So this person says, if I go to the jungle, will food be provided to me too? Now you have to visualize someone asking Gurudev this. Gurudev says, of course not. And this person's stunned. Why not? Because you're going to the forest for food, not for God, isn't it? If you're going for food may or may not be there. But if you go for God, God will procure all that you need and protect all that you procure. Yoga and Kshema. On Thursday was Swami Tapovanam's Jayanti, the day he manifested. And I always remember an incident in his life where he was going to Kailasha. And when he traveled, he traveled with very minimal possessions. He usually just wore like a muumuu, like a long kurta, and had a bag with a mat. That's it. I can't even imagine what else he would travel with. So once there was a group of thieves who saw him from afar. And when you're traveling in the mountains, in the glaciers, anyone there is someone that you can steal from. So they go over to steal from Swami Tapovanam. But when they see how little he has, they give him blankets. That's like a thief coming into your house and saying, I feel bad for you. Here's some of here's a VCR. Who uses VCRs? Here's a Blu-ray player for you. This is our Guru Shishya Parampara. People have experienced this. Some more about this shloka. Yoga and Kshema. Yoga and Kshema is saying that Bhagwan is the means and ends. The means of living, the ends to living. That our work, his work is our responsibility. The means, his work, the work that's in front of us is our responsibility. His thought is our possession. So why do I engage in my responsibilities? Because I keep thinking about him. My only possession is Bhagwan. My only possession is peace. In the happiness series I had shared, without peace, all is worthless. His joy is our joy. You see, Bhagwan Krishna is always smiling. If I only think of Bhagwan Krishna, I become Bhagwan Krishna. As you think, so you become. His joy becomes my joy. In this shloka, what Bhagwan is saying, for us to not worry. When we worry, it is anti-shloka. And when we're not worrying, we are following this shloka. Worry. If you talk about attrition, we all fall away with that, isn't it? We stop our study right there. And if I can really hammer this point, someone who worries doesn't feel Advaita. Someone who worries does not feel this idea of Advaita. They're still flirting with Dvaita. Because in Advaita, there's only Bhagwan. There's only joy. But in Dvaita, there is me and what I need. I'm afraid it won't come. I'm angry if it leaves. Making that more clear, worrying is another form of being greedy. Worrying is another form of being greedy. Because in worrying I'm not going to get this. Or I'm worrying that this is going to go away. Yoga and Kshema. I'm worried that my son or daughter is not trying their best. I'm worrying about the economy going away. But is it your son and daughter? Is it your economy? I'll make this even more clear. Swami Tejamayananda always uses the word insistence. When you insist that results should be like that, that is being greedy, one will worry. When I engage in my karma, there will be a phala. That phala is decided by the karma phala data, by the one who's created and facilitates these laws. My insistence is just my ego. So in this shloka, I'm giving you a series of ways to look at this. At a high level, when I worry, that means I do not feel Advaita. When I worry, it's because I'm being greedy. When I worry, it's because I'm being insistent. In this shloka, we are taught to not worry. Elaborating on this, we go to 9.12 all the way to 9.14. Puja Swami Tejamayananda had shared, tell me who you love, and I'll tell you who you are. Tell me who you love, and I'll tell you who you are. Okay, so maybe we have to define love here. What if we define love as worship? So then we have to define worship. Worship is offering. Now, what can you offer to the world? Resources, time, effort. Love is worshiping, worshiping is offering. Offering what? Resources, time, and effort. This indicates who we love. Where our resources, time, and effort are going indicates who we love. So who are you worshiping? Bhagavan is asking us in this chapter, who are we worshiping? Now some may think, well, Bhagavan is infinite, Bhagavan is all, so I'm worshiping Bhagavan. Fundamentally this is true, but functionally it's not. You have to know that you're worshiping Bhagavan to benefit from the worship of Bhagavan. But if I don't know I'm worshiping Bhagavan, then I don't get to experience the benefit of that. A very worldly example to this. A friend of mine, he owns many McDonald's. And so he told me that when you buy a drink from McDonald's, there's free refills. You just have to buy one drink and you can keep on refilling your drink. He told me the same with breakfast. When you order hotcakes, they call them hotcakes at McDonald's, that you can have as many as you want. See, in both cases, when you buy a Coca-Cola, when you buy hotcakes, you're entitled to as much as you want, but you have to know that to benefit by it, correct? Not that anybody even wants to know that to benefit by it, but you see the technicality there. I'm paying for all of this, but I'm not actually benefiting from what I've paid for. When we worship that which is small, pleasure, possession, position, when we worship Indra, Vayu, Agni, we're putting in the same effort, but we're not getting the same return. It is inefficient to worship that which is small. Sheer inefficiency, same amount of input, but hardly the same output. That's why jnana is so important for us to experience bhakti. When I know that all of these devatas, which includes my boss, my neighbor, my spouse, all of these devatas, when I worship them, I'm giving my resources, time and effort to them, that I'm going to get a small return. I may go to heaven, but kshine punya. Finally, I'm going to come back to dependence on articles being circumstances. With jnana, I have that bhakti that I should worship God. I should depend on the self. Then I'm not interested in Martya Loka, I'm not interested in Brahma Loka, Nirvana, to blow out this ego. That's efficiency. Without jnana, without this insight, we will always worship the small. We feel small, we worship the small. But if I start to have faith that I'm more than this body, mind, intellect, I start to dedicate my resources and time and effort in a higher way, in a more universal way. If we're worshiping the small, that really means those who are small-hearted. Have you ever thought about Indra in our itihasas? For those who study Ramayana with me on Sundays, we always go back to Indra. That Indra is always scared. Oh, Bhagavan Rama's not going. Oh, now Shri Bharata's coming. A coward. He is small-hearted, and to please those who are small-hearted is most demanding. Yes? Is your supervisor small-hearted? Universally, everyone feels their supervisor small-hearted. If I were the supervisor, I would be large-hearted, correct? The small are small-hearted. They are demanding. If you don't worship them in the perfect way, you will not get the phala. And even if you get the phala, it may not be the way that satisfies you. But if we worship the large means large-hearted. They are not demanding, they are accepting. Right? If you think of the narrations of our Guru Shishya Parampara, how people like Acharya Shankara accepted Totaka. How you see in our Vedanta courses that people of all colors, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, people of all genders, women and men, people of all nationalities, Indians and Canadians, everyone is accepted. They are accepting. Here Bhagavan introduces a beautiful name of Bhagavan Shiva. Bhagavan Shiva has so many beautiful names. One is known as Ashutosh. The one who is easily contented, easily pleased. Like an infant. You know, if you hold an infant, you go to someone's house and they give you their infant to hold, and that infant smiles at you, right? You think, oh, that infant likes me. Just from that one smile, I'm a really good friend of this infant. I'm a good parent and all of that. That infant doesn't know how not to smile. But the infant is so easily pleased. We are so easily pleased in that moment because there's no ego. How easily pleased? Here's another wonderful shloka in chapter 9, which so many of us know, but we only know it due to fundraising. I'll explain. This is shloka 26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. This is a famous shloka where Bhagavan says, Ashnami, I eat, I accept patram. What does patram mean? Leaf, singular. He's not saying leaves. I have to give a whole bilwa tree. Leafa, pushpa, flower, singular. Palam, singular. So a leaf turns into a flower into a fruit. So some may be thinking, that's still pretty hard. Where do I find this leaf, flower, fruit? Then he says, toyam, just some water. But what is it that Bhagavan's actually eating, or what he's actually accepting? Bhakti. The leaf, the flower, the fruit, the water is incidental. Bhagavan accepts bhakti only. You can offer whatever, as long as that's offered with bhakti, Bhagavan will ashnami, will accept. You can offer whatever, but if it's without bhakti, it's like, you know, when you send someone a text message, but your Wi-Fi breaks, if you're using Wi-Fi, then that message is not sent. You typed it, but it never got sent, isn't it? But someone really close to you, even if you don't type it, they can feel it. And in the lesson, it's shared that when you give dakshina to someone you respect, love, revere, you always give that dakshina with a coin that is wetted. And that symbolizes to be soaked with devotion, to be filled with bhakti. Coin. not a check. Here's this check where the ink is all washed away the signature. Symbolically, you give that coin that is wet. If you worship the large-hearted, they are accepting. When we give our resources, time, and effort to the divine, he, she looks after us. And what's fascinating is that even now he, she is looking after us. We just don't know it, so we worry. And if you know it, stop worrying. So last awesome shloka from this chapter. So many. For those who came to the Understanding Marriage Retreat in Orlando in 2015, 16, whatever year. This is the portion of, this is the text I took up. I actually took up chapter 9 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita on how this helps us to understand marriage. This is shloka 27. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Bhagavan says, Yat karoshi, whatever you do, yad ashnasi, whatever you eat, yad juhoshi, whatever you offer in a sacred way, yad dadasi, whatever you offer in a secular way, yat tapasyasi, whatever you are doing to burn your comfort zones, tat kurushva, you should do that as arpanam to me. So in this shloka, what Bhagavan is saying, whatever you are, whatever you do, if you dedicate this to Bhagavan, that is worship, that is loving the divine, and we will know that all we need to procure will be procured and will be protected. We live worry-free, we live fear-free, only possible through these teachings and following these teachings. That choice is up to us. Bhagavan is making this available to all. Bhagavan is impartial. The question is, are we partial to Bhagavan? Or I'm impartial too. I worship the mayor and God. That means I'm married to neither. I have fear of commitment. Oh.